Good day, everyone. You're welcome to the lesson of today. Trust your day has been great. You're welcome. My name is Adedayo Adegoke. Today we are considering the subject quantitative reasoning, and our topic is powers and roots. We have been talking about powers. Today we want to look at it again. Powers and roots. If you just look at your screen, you are going to see a symbol here. You see a combination of letter and number, and then if you look at this one too, there's another one here. This one means power because there's a number raised up, while this one means root. The number raised up here is to the back of the sign. Okay, it is really about the sign, and the focus is on this number that is inside here. So when we talk about powers, that is the number that is raised up to the front. And when we talk about roots, that is we are trying to get the root, like the seed of a particular number. Pay attention as we study this topic together. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain powers and roots and solve questions involving powers and roots. Okay, take a look at this picture. You know, before we've talked about the power, that is the number raised up. Look at this one. We have 5 raised to power 2 or 5 to power 2. It can also be called 5 square. You know that when a number is raised to power 2, it means square. And we have been told that the little number, this 2, is called the index or the power. And it tells us how many times to multiply out the big number 5. This whole number, this is the whole number. This 2 is telling us how many times to multiply 5. So because it is 2 that is up, what do? 5 square means what? 5 times 5, which is what? 25. If it is 5 raised to power 3 that we have, you know what that means. It means 5 in 3 places. 5 times 5 times 5. Is that okay? If it is 2 that is risen up, that means square. That is only 2 times. And if it is 3 that is written up, that means cube. That is 3 times. So you just multiply it. 5 times 5 is 25. And 25 times 5 is what? 125. Is that taken? Okay, we have a chart here of perfect square. Perfect square means you multiply a number by itself. So look at this. 1 raised to power 2 is also called 1 square. And that means what? You multiply 1. How many times? 2 times. 1 by itself 2 times. So that's 1 times 1. And 1 times 1 is what? 1. 1 times 1, 1. If it is 2 times 1, that's 20 number times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So 2 square is what? 2 times 2, that's what? 4. 3 square, 3 times 3, that's what? 9. 4 square, 4 times 4, that's what? 16. You know 4 square still means 4 raised to power 2. But when we have raised to power 2 like that, it means square. Okay. 5 square is what? 5 times 5, which is 25. 6 square, 6 times 6, which is 36. 7 raised to power 2. That's 7 times 7. And that's what? 49. Okay, 49. Then we have 8 square. That's 8 times 8, which is what? 64. 9 square. That's 9 times 9, which is 81. And 10 raised to power 2 or 10 to power 2. That's 10 times 10, and that is what? 100. Do you know you can get me more? Like the perfect square of 11 to, let's say, 20. And if you can give me more than 20, I'll be very, very happy. Okay, you should know your perfect squares offhand. When somebody asks you what's 8 times 8, you should be able to say 64. Okay, that's what the powers really mean. Look at this. Okay, we've talked about powers. Now we want to look at roots. We'll be considering roots too. Now when we talk about roots, it can be square roots. Look at this one here. We have square. It can also be cube roots. You know I mentioned that when a number is raised to 3, that's cube. Like 5 raised to power 3 will be 5 times 5 times 5, right? And that will be what? 125. Okay. What if you are given 125 and you have to find the cube root? Roots, you know, in a tree, we have the flowers, we have the stem, then we have the root. The root is that part that is inside the soil. You know, that's it is that root. That's where the seed, you know, that's what the seed gets to be before the real tree now grows up. So the root is that number, that small number that we multiply to get this big number. Look at this picture that we have here. See, this sign means square root sign, and they did not write anything there, though it means 2. This is the sign. It comes up. It is not like see division. No, division is like this one. Division is flat, but if it is square root, you write your dash, write your stroke, then you take it up. You see, it is not flat like this division sign. It is not flat like this division sign. The root has to go up. The other stroke has to go up. So if there is nothing there, it means square root. If there is nothing there, it means that is 2. A number you multiply 2 times. But if you see 3 there, then it is not square root. It is now cube root. So look at this one now, 25. There is nothing there. I'm the one who has put this 2. So which number are you going to multiply 2 times that will give you 25? 3 times 3 is 9. It is not 25. So it is not 3. 4 times 4 is 16. And 16 is not 25, so it is not 4. But let's check 5. See, 5 times 5 is what? 5 times 5 is 25. So that means to get the cube root of 25, you just put your cube root sign there. Then which number will give me 25? That's 5 times 5. Then you pick 1. And 1 is what? 5. So that means the square root is 5. Is that taken? But for this cube root, you know it is 3 that is written here. The 3 means cube. So which number am I going to multiply 3 times? That will give me 8. Okay, the answer is here already, but you should know. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is what? 8. So what do? You pick only 1. Whether it is square root, that is 2 numbers to get the answer, or cube root, that is you multiply 3 numbers, it is only one of them that you pick. Like this 2 times 2 times 2 is only one I have picked. 5 times 5 is only one that I have picked. That's the root, the number that is multiplied to get this answer. Is that taken? Okay, let's take a recap again about these powers and roots. Numbers whose cube roots are whole numbers are called perfect cube, just like we have perfect square. Like 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, that's a perfect square. The same thing to here. Look at this numbers 1. 1 times 1 times 1. Tell me 1 times 1 is what? 1. That 1 times 1 again is still 1. Look at this one. 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is what? 4. And 4 times 2 is what? 8. That's how we have our 8. Look at this one. 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is what? 9. And 9 times 3 is what? Okay, that's 27. That's how this 27 arrives here. Look at 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is what? 16. And 16 times 4 is what? 64. Is that taken? So these are perfect cubes. You multiply a number 3 times and then you get the answer. Okay? Now if you have something like this, the 4th power of 3, that is you have 3 and then it has 4 powers. That is the 4th power of 3, which means that 3 is used as a factor 4 times. You know that 3 raised to power 4 means what? 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And that's what? 3 times 3 is what? 9. And 9 times 3 is what? That's 27. Then 27 times 3 is what? That's 81. So that means 3 raised to power 4 is what? 81. Is that taken? Okay, we have a chart here on the powers and then the roots of numbers. Okay, look at this one. 1 square, that's 1 times 1, that's what? 1. And 1 cube, that's 1 times 1 times 1, it is still what? 1. And look at this one now. Square root of 1, that is what times what will give me 1? And the answer is 1. Because it is 1 times 1 that will give us 1, then we pick 1. Look at this one. 2 square, that's 2 times 2, that's 4. Can you see it? 2 times 2, 2 square is 4. Then 2 cube is what? 8. And square root of 4 is what? 2. Look at this one. 3 square, that's 3 times 3, 9. 3 cube, that's 3 times 3 times 3, that's 27. And square root of 9. What times what will give me 9? That's 3. Look at, take note of all the square roots that are here. There's no cube root. If it is cube root, you will have your 3 written on top. But if there is nothing there, then it means it is 2. If there is nothing there, it means square root. But if they put 3 there, then that's cube root. Look at some more examples. You know we did 1 to 10 before, then we have 11 to 19 here. Look at all those ones. 6 raised to power 3. That's 6 times 6 times 6. Look at this one. 1 raised to power 4. That's 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. Let me put it down. 1 raised to power 4. That's 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. 1 times 1 is what? 1. That 1 times another 1 again. 1. 1 times 1 again. That's 1. Even if they give you 1 raised to power 10, or 1 raised to power 100, or 1 raised to power 1000, it is still 1. Because 1 times 1 is 1. Okay? Look at this one again. Look at this one. 1 raised to power 7. It is still 1. Because 1 times 1 times 1, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1. So it is still 1. Now we've talked about powers. What we have here is 4 raised to power 3. This 3 here is the index or the power, while this number is the base. That is the whole number, the base. Okay, and 4 raised to power 3 means what? 4 times 4 times 4. Can you tell me the answer? 4 times 4 is what? 16. And 16 times 4 is what? That's 64. Let's calculate. 16 times 4. 4 times 6 is what? 24. What do? You write your 4, you carry your 2, and then 4 times 1 is 4, plus this 2 that we have carried. 4 plus 2 is what? 6. So that's how we have our 64. Is that taken? So that's the answer. Okay. How do we get the square root? There's no 3. If there is 3 now, that's cube root, but there is no 3 at the back. We don't have something like this. We only have there's nothing there, so that means 2. So what's the square root of 9? Then you ask, what times what will give you 9? That's 3 times 3. Is that taken? And then you pick 1. So square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 25 is 5, because it is 5 times 5 that will give you 25. Square root of 64 is 8. And square root of 144 is 12. Is that taken? Look at this one. Oh, I love this work. Square root of 9 times square root of 9. Square root of 9 is what? 3. Square root of 9 again is what? 3. What is this sign that is in the middle here? Times. So the answer of square root of 9 is 3. And then it says times. The answer of square root of 9 again, that's 3. And 3 times 3 is what? 9. What if you are given a question like this? Square root of 25 minus square root of 9. What do you do? Square root of 25 is what? What times what will give you 25? That's 5. Minus square root of 9 is what? 3. So tell me, 5 minus 3. That's what? 2. And that's the answer. So it doesn't matter. I mean, just make sure you calculate it well, you will get your answer. Look at this one. Square root of 25, that's 5. Times square root of 25 again, that's 5. And 5 times 5 is what? 25. Can you see that? Square root of 64 is 8. Times square root of 64 again is 8. And 8 times 8 is what? 64. Square root of 144 is what? 12. Times square root of 144 again is what? 12. And 12 times 12 is what? 144. Can you see that? Okay, you have to do this warm-up activity to test your knowledge. What is 3 raised to power 2? What is 5 raised to power 3? 2 raised to power 6? 3 raised to power 4? Then, what is this one square root or cube root? Okay, there's no 3 there, so that's square root. What's the square root of 81? Which two numbers are you going to multiply that will give you 81? Square root of 100. Is this one square root or cube root? There's 3 there, okay? You find it, the cube root of it. And this one, that is 4. That is, which 4 numbers are you going to multiply? The numbers have to be the same. That will give you 16. Okay, so you do that. Thank you. Do enjoy the rest of your day and be happy.